want to talk with you about another very controversial move by the mayor and by the executive committee in relation to social housing in Toronto. As you probably remember, a few months ago, the mayor appointed Case Otis, a former councillor, to be the one-man board of directors of the Toronto Community Housing Corporation. In doing that, they kicked out the old board of TCHC and they imposed Case Otis as an interim director. And while he was the interim director, in an incredibly undemocratic move, he proposed and moved forward a proposal to sell off and privatize an enormous number, actually the largest number of houses for private sale in Toronto's history, over 700 TCHC homes. These are standalone units. TCHC runs buildings, it runs rooming houses, and it also runs a number of affordable units that are located in different wards around the city. Interestingly, I think only one of those houses is located in Mayor Ford's or his brother Doug Ford's riding. So this impact is not going to be felt by their residents in their ridings, but the impact will be felt across this city. I'm calling on all of us today to make an effort to write to our city councillors to oppose this sale. After Mr. Otis proposed the sale, it was pushed forward to City Council via the Executive Committee. The Executive Committee is going to be looking at approving or not approving this sale on January 24th. And that's Tuesday, January 24th. They have a special meeting set up at City Hall. It will be a meeting where there will be many items on the agenda, but by far the biggest item will be this proposed sale of over 700 TCHC units. So why not privatize social housing? Why not, what the city council or what the mayor is saying is that these homes are too expensive to repair, that the city does not have enough money to do the repairs and the maintenance on these buildings. They're saying that they're inefficient to run. They're saying that tenants do not keep them up well enough, and that therefore they're too expensive for the city to maintain. It's really important for us to take a look at the reality of this situation and to take a look at what this would mean for Toronto residents. Many are low income. This would disproportionately affect women and their families. Social housing and rent geared to income and subsidized units are primarily taken and inhabited by women and their kids. Often those women are escaping abuse because women who are escaping violence. Do you want me to stop?
Go ahead.
The sale of these homes will disproportionately affect women and their kids. Women who are fleeing violence and who are put at the top of the priority list for subsidized housing, new immigrants, women and their families. So these are the people who are going to be mostly affected. Women with disabilities, women with mental health issues. These are the folks who are relying on the city to provide them with affordable housing. So the sell-off of these homes and the forced removal, the displacement of the tenants of those homes to far-flung reaches of the city, to neighborhoods where they have no roots, no family, no connections with their local services. They will be displaced and moved to locations, other TCHC units. So the sell-off of these homes and the forced removal, the displacement of the tenants of those homes to far-flung reaches of the city, to neighborhoods where they have no roots, no family, no connections with their local services. They will be displaced and moved to locations, other TCHC units that are in parts of the city that are far from their faith groups, far from their neighbors, far from their kids' schools, far from their services that they use. We cannot stand by and allow this to happen, folks. This is the forced internal displacement of thousands of people in our city, people who are vulnerable, people who do not have options to go find the nearest rental. So why is this a bad, I know you know why this is a bad reason, but let's outline them and let's put these in our letters and our calls to our city councillors. And I'm hoping that some of you will, in solidarity with tenants, or maybe you are a tenant of TCHC yourself and you are thinking there's nothing much that you can do about this. In fact, there is. You can sign up to do a deputation. That's a 3 to 5 minute speech that you would read to the Executive Committee on January 24th. The way you do that is to write to exc@toronto.ca, or you can call 416-392-6627, and you can put yourself on the list of people that will give a deputation. And this is a really important way for residents of Toronto to be involved in the decisions that are made that affect so many of us so greatly. So when you do that and you sign up to make your deputation, you're going to want to remember to include a few points in your deputation. You want to remind the Executive Committee that this decision, a historic decision, we have never seen this kind of public sell-off of assets in the City of Toronto. And this is in a city that has a surplus in our budget. This is a problem that was downloaded onto the city by the province back during the Mike Harris years. And so what our city should be doing, what our mayor and our councillors, our budget chief, Mike Del Grande, who recently made some very, very disparaging and offensive and discriminatory remarks about poor people in our city, we need them to stand up to the province, to demand that the province give the city the money that is required to continue to uphold, maintain, and repair these houses. We do not want this downloading of the province, which has penalized the city so badly. The city is now turning and making the tenants bear the responsibility for that. We need the city to turn around to Kathleen Wynne, who is the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing right now at the province. We need them to turn to Dalton McGuinty, who claims to represent all Ontarians and care very much about poor people in this province. We need our city to turn to them and demand that money be given to the city for the maintenance and the upkeep of these houses. We need the city to understand that this has been a very, very rushed decision that they are coming to. We have never seen such a fast-paced process with so little information given to city councillors about the decision that they're about to make. City councillors such as Josh Matlow have said that they don't have enough information to make this decision, and we need to go and tell them that they need to demand that information, they need to have a better business case made, that they need to be protecting their tenants. Whether those tenants live in their ward or not, they need to be standing up for those tenants. We need to demand that City Council continue the project of mixed income neighborhoods. This move to sell these houses would push people into segregated parts of the city. We already have poor people in our city, low-income people in our city, too segregated from others. They are pushed out to the margins, into the inner suburbs. They are pushed into buildings where people do not have mixed incomes, where people are forced into almost like ghettos of poor income, low income. We need to see that stop. There is research and study after study that makes it clear that the best mix, or the best kind of neighborhoods, are mixed income neighborhoods where rich and poor and middle income live together, because all of those communities bring strengths to our neighborhoods. And when we do that, then low income people are not stigmatized. They live in houses that look like other people's houses, and they are not stigmatized for their income. Kids can go to neighborhood schools. This is just the way to build our neighborhoods, is to mix our incomes. The other reason that this is a really, really bad idea is because these houses are bringing in rent. Our city is the TCHC is a huge corporation that can borrow money or make financial arrangements to spread the cost of maintenance and repairs out over many, many years. It's got lots and lots of collateral, so there is no reason to declare a financial crisis at this time. Money can be found to do this. TCHC can run its operations better and find that money to repair these houses. TCHC could enter into very innovative arrangements with tenants, rent-to-own schemes. Many, many low-income people would be very thrilled to be able to enter into a kind of a rent-to-own situation around their housing. The other biggest reason why this is a terrible move on the part of TCHC and on the part of City Council, should they adopt it, is because we have over 80,000 families currently on wait lists for subsidized housing in this city. So at a time when we have record numbers of families, and again, most of those families are woman-headed, most of those families are women and their kids, when we have so many families waiting for subsidized housing in a rental market that is right now, we've got a very, very low number of rental units, very, very few affordable units on the market. Most of the stuff that's available on the market is condos that the average low-income person cannot afford. So when we're in a situation like that, it makes absolutely no sense to sell off the little subsidized housing we have. In fact, the city and TCHC should be acquiring property, should be acquiring units for people who are waiting on that waiting list, and many have been waiting for 10, 12, 15, even longer years. So this is a bad move all around. I want to encourage all of us to get down to City Hall, Committee Room 1 on January 24th and to make our deputation to the Executive Committee. You can sign up again by writing to exc@toronto.ca or by calling 416-392-6627 and let them know you'd like to make a deputation. If you don't feel comfortable speaking in public or you can't get down there on Tuesday, write a letter to your city councillor, to the executive committee, and to Mayor Ford. In fact, write a letter to all the city councillors, and you can find their addresses at www.toronto.ca. And if you want to find out the facts and find out why this is a terrible idea, you can go to www.tenantsforsocialhousing.com. I think I've got that right. I just want to make sure. Tenantsforsocialhousing.com. You can find out what's going on. You can find out why it's all of the arguments that you can make to City Council. So I encourage you to go to that website. I encourage you to get involved in this issue, whether or not you're a TCHC tenant. If the city can privatize TCHC and get rid of our holdings, the city can privatize everything. We've seen it with garbage collection. We've seen that the mayor is trying to lock out the unionized workers. This is not a road we want to go down. It's really important that we stand up and fight back now. Thanks.